What is up, Two Brain World? Jay Cohen here, owner of Locomotion Fitness in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina. I'm going to talk to you today about data and the value of data with two very specific examples from my business. But before I do that, a quick reminder, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notifications bell so you don't miss any of the awesomeness from Two Brain. So on the data front, we are constantly tracking metadata at Two Brain. All of these gyms submitting lots of metrics so that we can take that information, put it into guides, and give it to all of you as best practices. However, we also personally are tracking our own gym's data. We have what we call the Two Brain Business Dashboard that helps us to track average revenue per member and length of engagement and what our gross revenue is and what my owner benefit is and what my payroll percentages are. All super pretty graphs so that I can take a peek at that and say, it looks like my overhead is much higher than it should be compared to all of these other gyms. And that's the first specific piece of data that I want to talk to you about today. So I have been doing a staff audit where I'm looking at what roles and tasks I have in my gym and what the return is from each of those roles and tasks. What are they delivering in value, be that longer retention or revenue adding to the top end? And what I quickly determined is that I felt like our behind the scenes stuff, all of our admin, membership adjustments, client success managers making phone calls, all of that felt bloated. Felt like I was paying way too much to too many people and not enough was happening. So one of the great values of being in the Tinker program of Two Brain is I went to that group of gym owners who are at the top end of success in this industry. And I said, hey guys, tell me in your business, as a percentage of your total payroll, what are you paying for these non-coaching roles? So not delivering service, not delivering a group class or a personal training appointment or a nutrition appointment, but the back end stuff. And what I heard shocked me. They were closer to, and take this with a grain of salt, right? This is not a huge sample size, but the average was about 15% of their payroll was going to cover that stuff. In my business, when I did the math, my monthly payroll is about $25,000 and about $7,000 was going to cover that behind the scenes stuff. That is 30%. It was actually 31%. So because I had my data and I was tracking my payroll and I know how many hours are going to what and what was being delivered for those hours, I could then go to some other gym owners and look at what is normal, right? Where should I be? And then I'm able to make some moves based on that. And me personally, that looks like restructuring some roles and tasks, possibly hiring some stuff out instead of doing it in-house, maybe making some things like for us, retail, which I'm going to circle back on here in a second, was a big area where we just had a ton of bloat without much return. So data is the only way that I could figure that out. The other example is retail. So retail in my gym is not a big piece of what we do. We're not big supplement pushers. In fact, I actually tell people not to take very many supplements until they get to a certain point in their journey because I don't want them trying to substitute real food with supplements or thinking that there's a shortcut. But we only do maybe $1,500 a month in retail here. So nothing crazy. It's a small percentage. Now, of that $1,500, again, data. 60% of that was going to my staff. 40% of that was going to my members. So if we take, and I'm going to use $1,000 just to make the math a little bit easier. Let's say I grossed $1,000. Now my average margin is about 40%. So of that $1,000, 600 of that went to cover product, which leaves me $400. Of that, 60% was staff, which I make zero on. So for us, staff just pay for their retail at cost. So of that $600, less than 300 of that actually came to me as the business owner. Then I went and looked and I saw all the hours, all the keeping up with inventory, all of the ordering, all the keeping it looking good and clean. And there were a ton of hours, way more than what I was making in retail going into that project. So again, if I didn't have data, I would have kept dumping more and more into retail, seeing that I was making $1,500 a month, right? If that's all you're looking at, man, this is awesome, making an extra $1,500, $2,000, and I'm not really doing much of anything. But in reality, when you drill down and you look at the numbers, I was actually losing money after paying my staff. And that is the importance of data. Sometimes our brains can look at something and make a snap judgment, what we think is going on. And we're really good at telling ourselves that we're great at doing that. And I know because this thing is happening, the outcome is going to be great. When in reality, when we turn on our system 2 brains, our analytical thinking, and dig into the numbers, we see, man, that was a bias and I am totally wrong with what I thought was actually going on here. So, big takeaways: track your stuff. Remember, what gets measured gets managed. I don't care what it is. Across the board, set, show, close rates, arm, leg, revenue, profit, all of that stuff. Number 2, we need to be able to talk with other gym owners, other people in your industry, so that you can compare your data to their data. Because otherwise, how do you know where you should be, right? Let's talk to some businesses that are doing well, that are healthy, so that we can try and get our numbers roughly in line with theirs, keeping in mind that we're always going to have slight variances just based on mission, vision, values, space, all that kind of stuff. Third thing is making sure that you have somebody holding you accountable to tracking your data in some sort of system that you're reviewing at least monthly so that we can make adjustments. If you're only doing this quarterly, or even worse, you sit down with your accountant once a year and you look, man, you are totally reactive, right? You are looking at the past year's data, and that is way too late to be making pivots and changes. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Again, please hit that notifications bell, like this video so that you don't miss any of 2Brain's awesome content. I will see you soon.